There is a strange problem hidden inside every human baby. Compared with many animals, they arrive almost unfinished. A newborn horse can stand within hours. A baby chimpanzee can cling to its mother with far more strength than a human infant. But a human baby cannot walk, feed itself, escape danger, control temperature, or even hold up its own head at first. It enters the world loud, fragile, demanding, and completely dependent. The popular answer is simple. Human babies are helpless because humans are born too early. There is truth inside that idea, but it can mislead if we stop there. A human baby is not just a premature version of a stronger animal. It is the result of a difficult evolutionary trade-off. The same species that grew large brains, walked upright, used tools, lived in groups, and depended on learning also produced infants that need years of care before they can survive alone. That helplessness looks like a weakness. In the ancient world, it must have been terrifying. A crying infant could attract attention. A slow child could make travel harder. A mother recovering from birth needed help. A group carrying babies could not move as freely as animals that drop newborns and keep going. If early humans lived with predators, hunger, cold, injury, and conflict, why would evolution tolerate babies this vulnerable? That is where the question becomes deeper. Human babies are not helpless because evolution made a mistake. They are helpless because human survival shifted away from instinct alone and towards social life, long learning, shared childcare, and flexible intelligence. A baby's weakness forced adults to cooperate. Its slow development created time for language, imitation, bonding, teaching, and culture to enter the body before independence. So this video is not only about why human babies cannot do much at birth. It is about why one of nature's most vulnerable creatures became the starting point for one of the most social species on Earth. Human babies are helpless, but that helplessness may be one reason humans had to become so deeply human. The mistake is treating a helpless baby as a design failure. A modern eye looks at a newborn and sees everything it cannot do. It cannot run, cling well, find food, follow the group, or protect itself. Compared with many animals, this looks like a terrible survival strategy. But evolution does not build creatures for independence alone. It builds them for the survival system they actually live inside. For humans, that system was never just the individual baby and one isolated mother. It was the group. A human infant was born into arms, voices, faces, food sharing, protection, and attention. That does not make infancy easy. It makes it possible. The baby's weakness only makes sense when placed inside a social species where other people can carry, soothe, feed, guard, teach, and respond. So the better question is not, why are human babies born so useless? That word hides the answer. A baby is not useless. It is unfinished in one way and extremely powerful in another. It cannot walk, but it can demand care. It cannot speak, but it can pull adults into attention. It cannot survive alone, but it can trigger bonding, protection, milk production, shared responsibility, and learning. Helplessness is not only a problem, it is also a signal that organizes adult behavior. This reframes human infancy as a trade-off. Faster independence would be useful in a dangerous world, but it would come at a cost. A more developed newborn would need a longer pregnancy, a larger body, and a bigger birth challenge. A baby born with less fixed behavior has more time to absorb its group's language, faces, rules, tools, foods, fears, and habits. Human infants arrive vulnerable because human adults and human culture became part of the survival equipment. That means the helpless baby is not an exception to human evolution. It is one of its central clues. Humans did not become successful by making babies that could survive alone. They became successful by building a world where babies did not have to. To understand why human babies are so helpless, you have to place birth inside an ancient body and an ancient group. A pregnant human was not living in a hospital world. She was walking, foraging, sleeping on the ground or in simple shelters, facing weather, hunger, injury and danger while carrying a fetus with an unusually demanding brain. Birth itself was risky, and after birth the problem did not end. It began a new phase, keeping a fragile body alive every hour. A newborn human could not simply grip fur and ride through the landscape the way some primate infants can. Humans had lost most body hair, walked upright, carried tools and food in their hands, and moved through environments where distance, temperature, predators, and group decisions mattered. A baby had to be held, carried, fed, cleaned, warmed, calmed, and protected. That meant infant care took time, energy, and attention away from other tasks. It also meant one adult alone could be pushed to the limit. This is why ancient childcare was probably not only a private bond between mother and baby, it was a group problem. Grandmothers, fathers, siblings, older children, aunts, uncles, and trusted group members could all matter. Someone could carry the infant while someone else gathered food. Someone could watch a toddler near camp. Someone could bring food to a recovering mother. Shared care did not make babies easy, but it made long dependency survivable. The environment made helplessness even more serious. A crying baby could expose stress. A cold night could drain heat. A sick infant could demand more attention than the group had planned. A moving camp had to account for the slowest and most dependent body. But that same dependency also pulled people into cooperation. The ancient context was not a baby alone against nature. It was a baby inside a network of hands, milk, voices, warmth, and memory. Human infants were vulnerable because human life had become deeply social. The evidence for human baby helplessness comes from several directions, and none of them point to simple failure. The first layer is comparative biology. Many mammals are born ready to move quickly, but human infants sit in a strange position. They are not the most helpless animals on Earth, yet compared with other great apes they are unusually dependent. They cannot cling well, travel with the group, feed themselves, or regulate their world without constant care. That dependency tells us human infancy evolved inside a protective social system. The second layer is anatomy. Humans walk upright, and upright walking changed the shape of the pelvis. At the same time, the human lineage evolved large brains. Birth, therefore, became a narrow evolutionary negotiation. The baby had to be developed enough to survive outside the womb, but not so large that birth became impossible or too dangerous. This does not mean babies are simply born too early in a crude way. It means human birth sits between brain growth, pelvic structure, maternal energy, and survival after birth. The third layer is brain development. A human newborn's brain is active and demanding, but still far from mature. Much of the growth that matters for language, social learning, motor control, memory, and culture happens after birth. That long period of immaturity is costly, but it also makes humans highly teachable. A baby born with fewer fixed behaviors can be shaped by the group it enters, its faces, sounds, foods, tools, dangers, rules, and emotional patterns. The fourth layer is cooperation. Anthropologists often describe humans as cooperative breeders, meaning that children are commonly supported by more than the mother alone. Fathers, grandmothers, siblings, relatives, and other trusted group members can all help with carrying, feeding, watching, protecting, and teaching. This matters because a helpless baby requires more care than one exhausted adult can always provide. Group care did not remove the burden, but it changed the math, so the evidence stack points to a trade-off. Upright walking, big brains, slow development, and social childcare became linked. Human babies are helpless because they are born into a species where survival depends not on immediate independence, but on long learning inside a group. The mechanism begins with a trade-off between safety now and learning later. A newborn that could walk, grip, and follow the group immediately would seem useful in a dangerous world. But building that kind of baby would require more development before birth, more maternal energy, and probably a larger body passing through an already difficult birth canal. Human evolution did not solve the problem by making babies instantly independent. It solved it by moving much of development into the social world after birth. That created a strange survival system. The baby arrives weak in muscle, balance, and control, but strong in another way. It is built to pull care from adults. Crying, eye contact, facial expressions, smell, touch, and the need to be held all help keep caregivers close. A human infant cannot escape danger alone, so it makes distance from protection emotionally difficult for adults. Dependency becomes a signal. The baby's body says, again and again, stay near me. The second mechanism is slow brain building. Human babies are not just waiting for their legs to work. Their brains are being shaped by voices, faces, rhythms, food habits, tools, dangers, and social rules. A fawn needs to stand quickly because its survival depends on movement. A human child needs years because human survival depends on learning a way of life that is too complex to fit fully into instinct. Helplessness buys plasticity. Plasticity lets culture enter the brain. The third mechanism is shared care. If one adult had to carry the full cost alone, human infancy would be nearly impossible. But when others help, the burden spreads. Someone brings food, someone watches a toddler, someone holds the baby while the mother rests, someone teaches, comforts, protects, or warns. The baby's weakness becomes a reason for the group to organize itself. So human babies are helpless because humans shifted survival from individual readiness to social development. A baby is not born prepared for the world. It is born prepared to be prepared by other people. Imagine a cold morning in a small prehistoric camp. A mother has given birth not long ago, and the whole rhythm of the group has changed around a body that can do almost nothing by itself. The newborn lies against warm skin, eyes unfocused, head heavy, hands weak, mouth searching for milk. It cannot follow the group. It cannot cling well enough to be forgotten. It cannot understand danger. Every few moments it demands the attention of someone stronger. Nearby, life still has to continue. Food must be found. Fire or shelter must be maintained. A toddler wanders too close to the edge of camp and is pulled back by an older child. Someone returns with roots or meat and shares part of it with the mother, not because she is lazy, but because feeding her helps feed the baby. Another adult holds the infant for a short while so she can rest, clean herself, or eat with both hands. The baby's helplessness has already reorganized the labor of the group. There is no formal childcare system, but there is a circle of response. A grandmother recognizes a dangerous cough. A sibling learns how to rock the baby without dropping it. A father or trusted adult carries the child while the group moves slowly. An elder warns people to keep the sleeping place warmer. Every action is small, but together they create the invisible shelter a human infant needs. The baby does not contribute by walking, hunting, gathering, or making tools, but it contributes by pulling the group into cooperation. Its cries tell adults when something is wrong. Its face holds attention. Its survival depends on milk, warmth, arms, patience, and shared food. Around that weakness, human relationships tighten. By evening, the group has not solved infancy. The baby is still helpless. Tomorrow it will need care again, and the next day, and for years. But inside that long dependency, something powerful is happening. The child is not only being kept alive, it is being built by the group it will one day join. The twist is that human babies are helpless, not because humans failed to make stronger infants, but because humans built a survival strategy that could afford weaker ones. That sounds backward. In a dangerous ancient world, you would expect evolution to favor babies that could stand, cling, hide, or follow quickly. Instead, our species doubled down on the opposite. Babies that needed more holding, more feeding, more teaching, and more protection for longer. But that weakness created a powerful social pressure. A helpless baby makes isolation expensive. It pulls food toward the mother. It pulls attention from siblings. It gives grandmothers, fathers, relatives, and trusted adults a reason to matter. It turns childcare into group structure. In other words, the baby does not survive because it is independent. It survives because it forces humans to become interdependent. That may be one of the most important shifts in human evolution. A species with helpless babies cannot rely only on speed, teeth, claws, or instinct. It needs patience, it needs memory, it needs emotional bonds strong enough to keep adults responding even when the cost is high. It needs children who are carried before they can walk, corrected before they understand, and taught before they are useful. So the surprising answer is not simply that human babies are born unfinished. The deeper answer is that humans finish each other. A baby arrives incomplete, and the group completes it through warmth, language, food, touch, warning, play, and years of attention. Helplessness looks like a flaw when you stare at one infant alone, but inside a human group it becomes a force that helps create care, teaching, cooperation, and culture. Today, human babies still reorganize the lives around them. A newborn can turn adults into lighter sleepers, faster responders, quieter walkers, and more careful planners. A crying baby can stop a room. A tiny hand can hold attention that no lecture could demand. Modern parents feel this as exhaustion, love, pressure, and responsibility. But under all the modern equipment, the pattern is ancient. One helpless body pulls a whole social world closer. That is why human infancy can feel so strange when compared with other animals. It looks inefficient. It looks dangerous. It looks like evolution left too much unfinished. But human survival was never built around each newborn arriving ready to run. It was built around a group becoming willing to carry a child through years of weakness until that child could absorb language, tools, rules, fears, food knowledge, faces, and stories. The baby's body is fragile, but the system around the baby is powerful. In the ancient world, this helplessness came with real costs. A group had to slow down, food had to be shared, a mother needed support, children had to be watched. Adults had to choose shelter, movement, and risk with the smallest bodies in mind. A baby could not repay that care quickly. For a long time, it mostly consumed attention. But that long investment created a different kind of human being, one shaped by other humans before they could fully choose who they were. So the answer to why are human babies so helpless is not just big brains, narrow hips, or being born early. Those are parts of the story, but the deeper answer is social. Human babies are helpless because human life became a shared project. They arrive needing arms because they are born into a species that survives with arms around each other. A human baby is not designed to face the world alone. It is designed to make alone impossible. And maybe that is the most important clue. The first lesson of being human is not walking, talking, hunting, or thinking. It is being held long enough for a group to turn a helpless body into a person.